Hello, and welcome back to myself playing Disco
Always a
Elysium.
pleasure to see an officer of the law. I mean, officers.
Nothing new there.
Again? I can't believe this shit.
Okay, can't. Nothing unlocked there.
Oh, hello, sweetie. So nice to see you again.
Okay, let's try. We should do better luck this time. Maybe you could convince her to tell you about some of the cool cryptics.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. You're chummy. Just go on and ask.
Hey, Lena, I'd like to hear about some of those juicy cryptics you've studied. Could you tell me a couple?
Oh, I'd be delighted.
Is this bird a cryptic? Point to the tie she gave you.
No, it's the cryptid.
Wow, the cryptic.
Oh, yes.
The small silvery skull shines between your fingers. Its beak sharp. Okay, what is this bird?
The eight-eyed teratorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters. It was thought to have gone extinct 3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real. A mutation, they said. Until
Mutation? All of evolution is a mutation.
until it was cited by renowned Gottwaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21.
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalog comes up completely empty. But, of course, you are not all-knowing.
I need to hear about this sighting.
It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Oamval Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm.
Okay, and Umaro is.
The world's largest canyon system, sweetie. It's a barren waste east of the Erg Desert, an ancient riverbed completely dried up.
What happened?
Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years, since the fall of Pericarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment, and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great black bird. It seemed gargantuan. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. But by the time Uwe got there, the teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. This happened many times.
He was following it.
Yes, or rather, hunting. A bird that big has a lot of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plattenkalk followed the teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall where the bird finally landed to rest. The professor climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with his head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch. So he approached, slowly squeezing the rock in his fist.
Watch out.
Then the teratorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider. And the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. Whatever he did, he could not get closer to the bird.
Why?
The bird was controlling his mind. It kept him from approaching. He could step back. Every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uwe spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away.
Hold on. How did he survive to tell the story?
The eight-eyed teratorn was indifferent to him, as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. It even let him feed on some carcasses up there. and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind.
An 8-eyed mind-controlling bird. Fuck yes.
Absolutely, sweetie. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since, but Wamrao is vast, mysterious, and holds many secrets.
Modern radar telemetry shows great promise. We will confirm this one by the end of the decade, latest.
This one I liked. Not only does it have 8 eyes, and is a living fossil, and the largest bird ever to live, it also does mind control.
So that was the last anyone saw of it.
Sadly, yes. But there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Il Mara. And then there's the striking resemblance to the Pericarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol that is hard to pass off as coincidence. The imperial eagle, too, had 8 eyes.
Not really. It's just stylization. The way they drew eyes. It's not a zoological drawing.
Very, very hard.
This one's very famous. Everyone knows it. People will be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. So, what else do you want to know?
What's the biggest cryptic?
That would be the giant of Kokonur.
She says it is common knowledge.
The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes.
Wait, what do you mean, strange light?
Mirage or psychogenous luminance.
She does not elaborate the nature of the luminance further. Just how big is it?
No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision.
Is it dangerous?
The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Hui. No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
What's the tiniest cryptic?
Cryobacter catlensis.
She answered me the Cryobacter lymphus.
Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kotla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou some 70 years ago.
So, what's so special about it?
Bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate. Certainly from before recorded history. Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life.
Wait, she injected herself with it?
Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea.
It's actually a little hard to see, but do go on.
You mean there's an immortal geologist wandering the world?
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream.
What's the most dangerous cryptic?
The gnome of Jeroma.
She pauses for effect. The gnome of Jeroma. That sounds terrifying.
Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue.
What did this cryptic look like?
It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a gangly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
She says mostly to herself.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient?
Nope. It was a perfectly good explanation. Stop being so skeptical.
Sure, a perfectly good explanation. It dissolved in its own venom. Go on then. Ask about more gnomes or whatever.
Are there any invisible
What an
cryptics?
interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
Shh, Kim. She's going to tell me about invisible cryptics. What is it?
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper, light and low.
A whisper, light and low?
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mama d'Aqua makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be everywhere all of the time, and we wouldn't know.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory.
Could it be here? Look around. Right now?
It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights.
What evidence is there of this animal being the sound?
Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of Areopagi ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing. When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds.
Just nod eagerly.
The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest pitched bat calls. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mama d'Aqua, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent.
Wow.
They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them.
Name them.
Sequester, Time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mamadakwa they followed individually.
Why is the Mama Dakwa so afraid of us?
That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction.
Extinction?
They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mamadakwas. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear? Psst.
They cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population. After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Mamadakwa population anywhere.
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsifiability. I like the story, though, ma'am.
I'm glad you did, dear.
Interesting. What about...
What about what?
This has been educational. Sadly, we need to discuss something else.
Of course, dear.
That's all for now, madam. Leave.
Kingdom of Conscience. The Kingdom of Conscience will be exactly as it is now. Moralists don't really have beliefs. Sometimes they stumble on one, like on a child's toy left on the carpet. The toy must be put away immediately, and the child reprimanded. Centrism isn't change, not even incremental change. It is control over yourself and the world. Exercise it. You cut at the sky, at the dark shapes of the coalition airships hanging there. Ask yourself, is there something sinister in moralism? And then answer, no. God is in his heaven. Everything is normal on earth.
Okay. Wow, that just shut up.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers.
Squid.
There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside.
Revert your gaze.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
He doesn't look particularly happy to see you. Me and Everett talk. He promised your corporation.
Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy, and now she's making me play with you. Is that it, lawman?
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You gonna go and tell on us?
Why don't you push me around some more and find out, Gib?
You gonna let him talk to me like that, Titus?
He turns his eyes full of hurt to the big man.
Let's see. Yeah, I guess I am, you big pussy. The old man sent word you'd be around again. That's the reason I'm being so forthcoming with you. Don't wear it out.
I want to talk about the hanging again.
Again. Just get the dead guy's autograph, since you're his biggest fan.
Good one, Titus.
How does the bullet in his head factor into this? A sip of his beer makes the surprise go down easier.
There was a bullet in the dead man's brain. Why was it there if you hanged him?
How the fuck do I know? Anyone could have shot him. Target practice, maybe.
Another sip, his tight lips suddenly.
Interesting, sire. It's as if he's lying to protect someone. He's not very good at it.
This line of questioning is over. You got the cause of death already? Hanging. If there's any post-mortem trauma, it's your problem. This will not turn into a cross-examination.
No more questions.
About fucking time.
You still haven't explained the bullet I found in the hangman's head.
You still on about that bullet? A bullet in a hangman's head. Right, Copper. That is mighty curious.
Indeed, mighty. How did it get there?
Lieutenant's it's fixed on
Well,
Titus.
there are so many bullets in the world, and so many heads. I guess it's only logical. At some point, one of them bullets had to end up in one of them heads.
It's bound to happen again, you know? Just statistically speaking, of course.
He taps onto his right temple.
Sire, it would be an event most dramatic if you were to produce the bullet and dangle it before their very eyes.
I'm gonna ask you again, why was this shown a bullet in the victim's head?
Wow. He's got it in a real evidence bag and all.
The little man leans in to inspect the leadened blossom.
Why don't you go home and log it into evidence? These men have told you what happened.
I think the hanging was a cover-up for the shooting.
You know what I think? I think he was shot in the head as a kid, and his brain grew around the bullet.
Around the bullet, man. That's a good one.
All the goofing around is to avoid lying. It's a technique.
Did you go and shoot him?
Shit! I probably did shoot him. I was drunk last night. You guys know me when I'm drunk.
Yeah, Glenn likes to shoot his guns when he's drunk. Better hope he stays sober.
The little guy looks you in the
No, he
eyes.
meant before he was hanged. Did you shoot him before you hanged him?
Before? After? During? This is getting ridiculous. They told you what happened. Stop wasting your time.
Don't worry, we'll figure this out sooner or later.
Never been worried in my life, lawman.
He crosses his arms and forgotten his beer for a moment.
It's not like you blew it wide open, but there's a little crack in there, somewhere.
I found someone who saw the hanging, a witness.
A witness? You ain't got shit. The locals would never come to you with this.
That's just tactics, Titus. Next, he's gonna tell you one of us already rolled on the others, and is in witness protection.
My witness isn't local.
Well, let's hear it then. Who is your mystery fella?
He's not alarmed by the sudden appearance of a witness, but he is surprised. This goes without saying, but nonetheless, don't give out his name.
Let's just say he's a high-ranking government official and leave it at that.
Yeah, right. Like we wouldn't know if an MI plant was in our town. Nice try, right?
Titus looks over his shoulder to his men.
MI is short for Moral Intern. Moral Intern is short for Moralist International, the coalition that runs Revachol.
I've seen this shit a million times, Titus. Fly fishing. They are desperate. The last copper. What wacky claims did he make?
The witness said the hangar went down very quiet, no shouting, no commotion.
It's you assholes that feel the need to go around like a fucking brass band. The Hardy Boys are dead silent.
Yeah, it's like they put cowbells on you before they send you to the streets. What's with the cowbells, policeman?
Damn, they wormed their way out of it somehow. Try something else if you can.
The witness said he saw 2 people of Aboriginal descent and 1 Mystique.
Arab guy? Boss, I think he's trying to say me and Theo.
Well, yeah. What is confusing you? Eugene, Theo, and Elaine were there, too. I already told you. We were all there.
The witness said it all looked like a surreal play.
Those flaccid MI cocks with their culture language. Everything's a surreal play or sublime whatever. Doesn't mean anything.
It means the whole scene was long and drawn out, like it was from a film.
What is this fella's problem? Sorry we didn't make it more action-packed. It wasn't the first thing on our minds, you see?
Shanky. It's Shanky, right? I thought there's something wrong about the lynching story. Now I know there was.
You don't know shit.
I know you are lying, Shanky.
He writes his notebook. The witness said the end is here in the great undoing. We will all be vapor.
Vapor, huh? Well, that checks out at least.
For the record, which I have to type up later tonight, no apocalypse-related testimony was provided to us by the witness.
Check out the stand-up comedians the RCM has. When are we gonna get funny men like that?
Enough about the witness.
Some witness. I pulled the same shit. Came up with some shit, then went and said it to people. Get a reaction. Don't have to go to cop school to try that.
You don't have to go to school for shit. I never went to school, and I'm doing great.
You're doing a hell of a job, man. Hell of a job.
Scan the room.
Starting from the right, boot size 44, blonde man, in his 30s, overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right, standard working boots, size 45 or 46, eldest in the room, probably mid-50s, smoker, quiet. Across, at the other table, hobnailed working boots, size 43, gang tattoos, Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Lobos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations, hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum?
Where?
On his neck. Forget it. It's not important. Let's call this one a musician.
Okay. And the little guy.
Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy, boot size 46, deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He, alone, is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy.
One of them is missing the odd soul.
Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella?
Establish authority. Yes. Authority. Feverish thoughts race through your mind.
First, when you tell me someone's been raped, you don't say who. That's bullshit.
Stop shitting your pants. You don't need to know, all right? We took care of it. The law handled it, all right?
Yeah. Aren't you listening? It's done. Finito.
You're not the law. I am the law.
For God's sake, stop shouting! Stop breaking things in my establishment! Stop provoking those oafs! They're not going to give you anything, can't you see? I can't have a police interrogation in here. People are trying to eat.
This doesn't concern you, cafeteria management.
Of course it concerns me if you make this kind of...
Easy, babes. What is this? I can't have a slap fight in my bar. It's embarrassing.
We are deep in forest territory. We need to cool off and re-engage later.
Everyone can see you picked some wrong options. Next time you have to come up with better things to say.
So, she's the rape victim.
The door is closed. Still nothing. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance. Still nothing. The lieutenant. This door can only be opened with a key or from the inside.
She's the rape victim, and she's got my gun because she was the rape victim.
Was that? Could it be the Col de Mama Dakwa? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear.
Is there a ring? Listen more closely.
There seems to be an extremely high-pitched ring. Ultrasonic. Lena said it was very high-pitched, right? It's like something tickles your ear. Lena also said that it couldn't be heard by any other animal, including humans. What you're hearing must just be a regular bird. Honestly, your ear isn't hearing a whole lot. The distant hum of the industrial harbor, the traffic. But, admittedly, there is a high-pitched noise somewhere there too. But then, isn't there always?
Wait, Kim, do you hear a high-pitched noise?
No, I don't hear the Col de Mama Dakwa, and neither do you.
Of course he doesn't. He's deaf.
Listen closely first.
There it is again. You're about to rediscover a long-lost species. Yeah, but how are you going to catch it?
Keep listening.
It must be very close. Maybe, just maybe, it will come toward you. Keep still. It might perch on your shoulder.
Hold very still and hope the bird comes to perch on your shoulder. Move your head towards the sound.
Oh no. The sound. It's moving away. Somewhere over there. Go after it. No. Too late. It's gone. There is no ringing anymore.
No.
Just the sound of the streets.
Come back, please. Listen more.
Keep your ears peeled, then. If the species really has migrated to Martinez, you're sure to hear it again.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording there. As usual, if you've watched this much, thank you very much, and I'll catch you guys again later. Bye.